Yeah, it's rolling. This is Paul.
Hi class, I'm glad to see you again this afternoon, and we have been taking Telegraph for the past 18 or 19 years. The experience we had in the past 18 days or 19 days were really
18 years?
18 days was eye-opening and game changer as far as my English is concerned. At this moment, I want to take this time to express my appreciation to my classmates, also to our teacher who dedicated a lot of her time to making this class reality. Also, my appreciation goes to the faculty of YBN, which should include Eric. I think someone is behind this great program, and so much for the nice work for our faculty members. And
Thank
the
you.
topic.
Can I ask you to raise your voice a little bit higher?
Yeah, because I'm very bit nervous actually.
Use your Tai Chi energy.
It's been almost 10 years since I did this kind of in-class presentation. Therefore, my message in there is not as tweaked as it should be. So anyway, the topic I'm going to cover today is China. And every day we heard the news and read the newspaper. Things regarding China always captures our attention. But what do we really know about China? And when you think we know about China, what kind of standard do we use? And this question led me to choose this topic. Honestly, there was another China-related topic which was presented by famous female CEO in China.
Journalist.
Yeah, Miss Yan. But the issue she represented was not as interesting as it should be. Therefore, I chose this topic. And if you have a smartphone, I sent you a KakaoTalk message this morning. And if you listen to this program, I will show you 2 or 3 minutes clip, just the beginning of the clip. And some of the 2 questions you might be expected to answer. Number 1 is, what do these numbers mean? 2020, 2050, 2025, and also in what ways the rise of China is so significant in modern Europe. Some of these answers will be found in the segment we are watching. Right?
Can I ask the numbers one more time? 2020,
2020, 2025,
2025,
and 2050.
2050, and second question, Minjae, what was the second question?
In what ways the rise of China is remarkable?
Okay, thank you.
It's very technical, but pay attention.
Okay, so let's get started. And we're going to do the media questions after the video, right?
And also, ask the author, would you read the first question about the media list?
Okay, question number 1, these are from the media literacy checklist, right? Number 1, who created this message, Paul?
About the author, actually, I didn't have enough time to investigate. I was actually overwhelmed by the content I was watching, so I just clicked on this telephone page, and according to that small little bio, he is the writer of the book called When China Rules the World.
When China
Rules the World. He's also columnist for Guardian and New Statesman. I think this is kind of online newspaper. Sorry for my level of investigation on this
Okay,
part.
that's good.
As to other questions, I think during my summary, some of these questions will be answered.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sure. So just pointing them out
Yeah.
a bit.
Okay.
So the other questions you're going to cover in your
Yeah, during the summary.
Sure.
So when you watch this segment, pay attention to these 2 questions, numbers.
The world is changing with really remarkable speed. if you look at the chart at the top here, you'll see that in 2025, these Goldman Sachs projections suggest that the Chinese economy will be almost the same size as the American economy. And if you look at the chart for 2050, it's projected that the Chinese economy will be twice the size of the American economy, and the Indian economy will be almost the same size as...
At this point, what does the number 2025 and 2050 mean, according to the information you just heard?
In 2025, the economy of China will be same with America.
Almost as large as, yes.
Yeah. And in 2050, it will be twice of America.
Twice the yes, good. Okay. Can I continue?
the American economy. We should bear in mind here that these projections were drawn up before the Western financial crisis. A couple of weeks ago, I was looking at the latest projection by BNP Paribas for when China will have a larger economy than the United States. Goldman Sachs projected 2027. The post-crisis projection is 2020.
What does that mean, Paul?
Yeah, what does 2020 mean?
When China goes, China's economy goes as well as US's economy.
BNP Paribas, another investment bank, projected that in 2020, Chinese economy will be as large or larger than that of USA. And you might also have heard that 2027. Have you captured that 2027? Projected that in 2027, our Chinese economy will be as large or larger than that of USA. But what's the difference between 2027 and the 2020? Same comparison, but numbers are vastly very different. What happened during these two projections? So, what was the event that took place between these two numbers?
This is a hard test, Paul.
Financial crisis. After the financial crisis, estimate has been changed from 2027 to 2020. And
What was changed?
Projected year when the Chinese economy will be as large as USA. Previously, it was 2027.
Okay.
But after financial crisis, the number was hastened up very big.
So you want to notice the financial crisis?
Yeah, 2020. Yeah, the number is very different. And the last segment will handle some of the two key significant aspects of China's progress. So.
That's just a decade ago. China is going to change the world in two fundamental respects. First of all, it's a huge developing country with a population of 1.3 billion people, which has been growing for over 30 years at around 10% a year. And within a decade, it will have the largest economy in the world. Never before, in the modern era, has the largest economy in the world been that of a developing country rather than a developed country. Second,
he just answered the first question. What did he say? In two aspects, Chinese rise is very significant. So forget about billions of people, but last sentence, what did he say?
China is not developed country. It is developing country.
Do you have any other opinion about this?
China economy raised 10% per year.
So what he said was that the largest economy is not from the developed country, but the developing country. That is very significant.
Why do you find it particularly significant, Paul?
Because so far, when you say the biggest economy in the world, we always say USA, Japan, and Germany. Suddenly now, China is the biggest economy.
Right, so I know you're interested in emerging economies.
Yeah.
Okay.
He will also answer our second question.
For the first time in the modern era, the dominant country in the world, which I think is what China will become, will be not from the West and from very, very different civilizational roots. Now I know it's a widespread assumption.
Yeah, he just answered the second key aspect of China's rise. What is it?
It has different civilization. And our economy is now moving from west to east.
Would you add something to what she said? So number one, first aspect was the largest economy has been from not developed country but developing country. The second aspect of the power rise is that the dominant nation will be not from the Western culture, but from the culture that these Westerners are not familiar with. So,
Can you remind me of your second question? In what was this?
yeah, maybe my question phrasing was not so correct.
Sure. When you answer, if you tie to the question that
Yeah.
you originally asked, it's good.
In what ways the rise of China is the rise of China remarkable? Firstly,
Remarkable.
sorry.
Okay.
So
Sorry, I want to use my question, but my questions are in the video camera.
Just cover the very bit of
In the West.
Maybe if you
And as countries modernize, they also westernize. This is an illusion. It's an assumption that modernity is a product simply of competition, markets and technology. It is not. It is also shaped equally by history and culture. China is not.
Well, here the speaker said a very interesting remark. The Westerners believe that as a nation modernizes, the country in case will become westernized. He said that this is an illusion. The modernity, becoming modern, is not just the outcome of market, competition, technology. It is also shaped or influenced by history and culture. That's what he said. So based on this initial understanding, he provided three main building blocks for understanding China, what China is, how China will evolve in the future. And if you touch on the Kakao message which I sent earlier this morning, number one, China is not a nation state. Nation state is like Korea is a nation state, USA, Germany is a nation state, but China has been nation state for the past 100 years, but the history of China goes back to maybe 2,000 years more. So maybe the rise of the Qin dynasty followed by Han dynasty. So in his opinion, all this civilization, amalgam of all these conquer, absorption, and various social cultures was a foundation for forming this China as we know it. It's not just a nation, it's
civilization state.
civilization. Yeah, civilization.
Great. Sorry, we need to wrap it up in a couple more minutes. And so that's number one.
Yeah. And second is the different concept of race. China is a huge country, 1.3 billion people. And in India and the USA, they believe they are multiracial, multinational. But in China, 90% of people believe that they belong to Han race, Han Chinese. So the advantage of this is that the notion of Han became the cement to hold these people together. But in other ways, it also disrespects, ignore others who do not belong to Han race.
That's kind of scary to me.
Yeah, so and he said that you may not be comfortable with this idea that in the presentation.
Yeah. It's too bad we couldn't spend a long time
Yeah.
discussing this
Yeah.
more. It's very
Yeah.
thought-provoking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, there is a notion of state and its relations with the society. It's already very peculiar in China. Again, this nation has been formed not just 100 years ago. It's the history and the culture of America of 2,000 years. So it's like building block actually, cement, holding this Han-raised country together. And also, in China, the power has not been turned that much actually. The whole civilization building block remains. So in China, people believe nation as a head of family, like patriarch. So the notion of the Chinese people toward the state is a little bit different from those in Korea, those in the West. So based on these understandings, please try to look at the China not from the standard that you are familiar with. Please pierce through all those existing notions and try to get the picture of what China is. Maybe due to the time constraint, I have to wrap this up.
Yeah.
Sorry for taking too much of that question. Anyway, this is once in a 10-year experience, as I'm concerned. I'm very nervous. If I do this more, I'll be more comfortable in this delivery of my presentation. Thank you for your patience and affection.
Thank you. I just wanted to ask you guys a couple questions. So going over the points that we didn't cover, what creative techniques were used to attract your attention in his presentation?
Yeah.
What creative techniques did he use, Paul?
Not that creative, but some using chart.
Yeah. I actually watched this video a long time ago, and the chart stays in my mind.
Oh.
Do you find that? When you see the numbers put that way? Usually charts are not so exciting, but this one was. And how might different people understand this message differently from us? I think you approached that in your talk, right?
The Han-race concept, the concept of race, the Uyghur and Tibet, people in Tibet may not buy this idea, may not agree with this notion.
If China's the most powerful economy in the world, and anyone who's not Han Chinese, we are not in control of that. Really interesting question. Okay, just relating to Jenny's talk yesterday, what was one of the main points that Jenny pushed through with choosing her talk? It was about English mania, right?
Does English is the only solution?
Do you feel differently about her point after seeing this?
Still, I do not see the connection.
Maybe Chinese will become the most popular language someday.
We better start studying Chinese. Okay, any other thoughts, Minjay? Last thought? All right, we have to watch the time, so thank you, Paul, very much. Bravo! Bravo, you. Great job.
Can I go?
Yeah, yeah.